Mangwana ni mwalelepo vukenjani kleklas vana ve Africa. Welcome to Africa Good Morning, your portal into Africa's important stories. Today, we take you from the streets of Antananarivo, where Madagascar faces a coup attempt as the president flees to France. Mali, where a $10,000 visa bond for U.S. citizens escalates diplomatic tensions. Gabon secures a parliamentary majority under President Brice Oligui Nguema, while South Africa debates renaming Kruger National Park amid heritage tensions. In Cape Town, illegal psychedelic healing circles grow. Our economic segment highlights Kaushik Burman's $150 million electric mobility initiative and Bill Gates' push for affordable obesity treatments across Africa. So, our correspondents will also bring us a story with regards to Yango. About 1,500 drivers have been banned. Watch Africa Good Morning on DSTV 285, GoTV 25, 1up2.com, and NTV Africa on YouTube. My name is Ashwin Bedi. Top stories shortly. Let's get into the top stories on Africa Good Morning. Fearing a coup, Madagascar's President Andry Rajoelina has fled aboard a French military aircraft after CAPSAT, the elite army unit that once helped him rise to power in 2009, defected to join Gen Z-led protests in Antananarivo. From an undisclosed quote-unquote safe place, the 51-year-old claimed he was escaping an assassination plot involving military and political figures, denying rumors of resignation while urging dialogue. Weeks of unrest over crippling shortages, corruption, and poverty affecting 75% of citizens have left at least 22 dead, with soldiers seizing key institutions and the opposition pressing for impeachment. Rajoelina's power is rapidly eroding as the African Union appeals for calm, and Madagascar teeters on the edge of another political breakdown. Moving on. Mali has introduced a visa bond of up to $10,000 for U.S. nationals visiting the country, matching a similar requirement imposed by Washington under President Donald Trump's administration. The U.S. Embassy in Bamako said the measure aimed to protect U.S. borders and national security. In response, Mali's foreign ministry announced it had established an identical visa program for American travelers. The decision comes despite recent diplomatic efforts to rebuild relations, including July talks on counterterrorism and mining cooperation. Ties soured after the 2021 coup that brought Assimi Goïta to power and aligned Mali with Russia's Africa Corps, following the expulsion of French troops and Wagner's arrival. Last week, Burkina Faso refused to accept deportees from the U.S., prompting Washington to suspend visa issuance. Mali's Foreign Minister Karamako Jean-Marie Traoré questioned whether the U.S. decision amounted to blackmail after rejecting an American request to host third-country migrants. The Trump administration's immigration crackdown has increasingly targeted African nations as potential destinations for deportations. In our next story, President Brice Oligui Nguema's Democratic Union of Builders, UDB, has won a parliamentary majority in Gabon following a second round of voting, securing 55 of the 145 seats in the National Assembly. The runoff elections took place in 77 constituencies where no candidate had won outright in the first round. The contest was largely between Nguema's UDB and Gabonese Democratic Party of former President Ali Bongo, which managed only 3 seats earlier. The victory consolidates Nguema's political control after his April presidential win and marks the conclusion of Gabon's transition following the August 2023 coup that ended 55 years of Bongo family rule over the oil-rich nation. The elections are viewed as a critical step in stabilizing Gabon's political institutions under civilian governance after a turbulent period of military oversight. With the legislative majority secured, Nguema now holds strengthened authority to advance the administration's agenda amid efforts to restore international confidence and domestic political balance. In our next story, South Africa's famed Kruger National Park could soon be renamed after politicians in Mpumalanga's legislature, led by economic freedom fighters, proposed dropping the name, honoring Paul Kruger. Established in 1926 and named after former South African Republic President, Kruger is revered by Afrikaners but criticized by others as a symbol of dispossession and racial exclusion. The park attracts nearly 1 million visitors yearly and contributes almost 9% to the economy, prompting warnings that a name change could harm tourism. The EFF suggested Skukuza, a Tonga term linked to the park's first warden, though critics said he also displaced black communities. The ANC and Umkhonto weSizwe supported the proposal, which remains non-binding pending a national review. Afrikaner group AfriForum denounced the move as cheap politics. Experts, including Professor Almarie Stabert, cautioned that rebranding costs and tourism impacts could outweigh benefits. The South African Geographical Names Council said the proposal bypassed due process, underscoring the deep sensitivities over historical redress and economic realities. Staying with South Africa. In Cape Town, self-appointed shamans are openly administering illegal psychedelic drugs such as MDMA, advertising them as mental health treatments. Photographer Stuart Dodds, seeking relief from grief and depression, underwent a $2,000 ritual involving both substances under the guidance of medicine woman Megan Hardy, who also consumed smaller doses. Hardy called her approach righteous civil disobedience, claiming it helps her move into the same frequencies as patients. Critics, including psychiatrist Dr. Marcel Stasny, warned that participants under drug influence cannot give informed consent and risk boundary violations. Despite the ban, the unregulated practice is expanding, driven by global interest in psychedelics for depression, anxiety, and PTSD. A 2025 European review urged more clinical evidence before approval, citing side effects like increased heart rate and anxiety. Tragic cases include the death of a 26-year-old Milo Martinovic after treatment in an unregistered Cape Town facility. While some practitioners insist psychedelics can heal the world, psychiatrists caution that without regulation, vulnerable patients face grave risks. In the last of our top stories, more than 1,500 Yango drivers without the necessary licenses and documents have been blocked from the e-hailing system, the Ministry of Works and Transport in Namibia has confirmed. The ministry also reported that 295 applications remain pending, while 245 drivers are in the process of applying. This follows a directive from Minister Veko Nekundi, who gave all e-hailing operators until 30 September to obtain the required permits to transport passengers. Chief Administration Officer Alexia Kashiongwa said the ministry is currently verifying these figures in consultation with Yango to ensure full compliance with the law. Elliot Ipinge reports.
In terms of their operators, to see whether they're in compliance, and few of the applications have been submitted with the Roads Authority being the Secretariat to the Road Transportation Board, and applications were notified, those that have received permits, and there are others that are still awaiting. Remember, for you to get a PDP, you also need to get a contact certificate. So there were those that were also outstanding due to the fact that they are waiting for their contact certificates to be allocated before they can go into the process of getting a PDP. So we did verify all of that, and we could also verify that some of the operators are not able to use the system in terms of those that were blocked. However, we did not, initially we could not get into the system, the Yango system itself, because they said there are certain security features that they are still working on. So hence, a detailed report is on its way to the Honorable Minister. And I believe from that report, the Minister will take another decision on what's the way forward. But that's all I can say at this moment.
Those have been our top stories on Africa Good Morning. Shortly, we'll be joined by Talent Gore as she delivers the Zimbabwe report. But prior to that, it's the weather. It's time for us to be joined by our correspondent in Harare, Zimbabwe, Talent Gore, as she delivers the Zimbabwe report. Talent, wamkase.
Tamukedu mamkau mamkase Africa.
Tamukahedu. A very tragic story tops your headlines. Talent. 42 people killed as a bus full of Zimbabwean and Malawian travelers overturns in South Africa. I understand President Cyril Ramaphosa also sent his condolences.
Yes, and the death toll has since risen to 49. So apparently 49 people were killed on Sunday night after a cross-border bus plunged off an embankment on the N1 highway near Makando, formerly Louis Trichardt. Authorities said the DNC coaches bus was traveling from Port Elizabeth to Harare and onwards to Malawi when it crashed after driving through barriers at a sharp cave. The accident occurred nearly Ingwe Lodge, just outside Messina. On Monday morning, the N1 remained closed as forensic teams and police investigators combed the scene. Apparently, President Cyril Ramaphosa expressed his condolences to the families and to Zimbabwe and Malawi. President Emerson Mnangagwa has also expressed his condolences to the families of Zimbabweans and the other nationals who died on the bus in South Africa. And also he has since directed the Zimbabwean government to cover the cost of repatriation, burial, and medical care for local victims. He also called for stronger regional cooperation on transport safety, saying the tragedy highlighted the need for Southern African countries to harmonize road traffic laws and enforcement. And we are quite sure that by today the president is going to declare that accident a state of disaster. So it is quite sad that 49 people died in that traffic accident on their way to Zimbabwe, and that bus was also going to proceed to Malawi. So we sincerely express our condolences to the families of those who perished in that accident.
Truly sad indeed. Moving on to your next story, Talent. South Africa has extended Zimbabwe exemption permits to May 2027.
As now is the norm, the South African government has extended the Zimbabwe exemption permits ZEP, which was set to expire at the end of November this year to May 2027. Home Affairs Minister Leon Schreiber made the announcement in a government gazette, which was published just last week. He said that the validity of the permits has been extended until May 28, 2027 in terms of Section 31 3B of South Africa's Immigration Act. He also said that he had decided to extend the validity of the he had decided to extend the validity of the exemption permits to May. So this has now become the norm between South Africa and Zimbabwe, whereby you find out that each time when the Zimbabwe exemption permits are about to expire, you find out that the South African government will actually extend the permits to another year. So apparently there are some Zimbabweans rather and South Africans who are not happy with the way the African government is conducting its business. Most South Africans in South Africa, they don't want Zimbabweans in South Africa anymore. So they are actually furious at the government that it is continuing to extend the permits of Zimbabweans who are in South Africa. So as of now, that is what the government has done. It has decided to extend the permits. We don't know if they're going to give in to what the South African citizens want or what. So we're just going to be monitoring to see how South Africans in particular are going to be reacting to these news. But as of now, most of them, they are not happy with what the government is doing by extending their Zimbabwe exemption permits for those Zimbabweans in South Africa.
Now, Talent, your next story is intriguing to say the least. Mpilo Hospital is facing a legal storm over babies who were swapped at birth 18 years ago.
Yes, it's shocking to say the least, but as you know, Mpilo Hospital is one of the major referral hospitals in Zimbabwe. It is a major referral hospital in Bulawayo, which is the second largest city in Zimbabwe. So the shocking discovery that two babies were switched at birth at Mpilo Central Hospital in Bulawayo 18 years ago has opened the door to potential landmark legal battles, with top lawyer advocate Tabani Mpofu saying the families and children involved could pursue multiple claims against the hospital. As reviewed last week, two families, one from Bulawayo and another one from Shurugi, recently learned through DNA tests that their daughters born on May 13, 2007 were mistakenly exchanged at birth. The truth emerged after a Bulawayo man, suspicious that his youngest daughter did not resemble his siblings, secretly commissioned a DNA test that revealed that she was not his biological daughter. His wife, adamant she had never been unfaithful, launched her own investigations. Only two girls had been born at Mpilo on the day she gave birth, and her dodged inquiries helped her eventually trace the other mother through social media. And after that, another DNA test confirmed the unthinkable. Their daughters had been swapped at Impilo Hospital, which later admitted negligence, citing staff shortages and system failures during the 2007 crisis. The mix-up has devastated both families, who are now grappling with deep emotional turmoil, cultural differences, and questions of identity. The father of the child raised in Shurugi died without knowing the truth, and the second family lives in Bulawayo. But lawyers have since been engaged to explore possible lawsuits against the hospital, the biggest referral health center in southwestern Zimbabwe. So this is quite shocking to say the least, and we hope that something will be done to ensure that these families, they at least get closure. As you can tell from the story, the father of one of the girls actually died without knowing the the truth, hoping or believing that the daughter that he had was his biological daughter. But right now, we're not sure how this is going to turn out. But it's good that the hospital admitted to negligence. So we hope that something is going to be done for both families.
A legal quagmire indeed there. It'll be interesting to see how everything unfolds. I mean, you mentioned one of the fathers had passed away, which means someone grew up with a father not knowing their father's dead, and another grew up without a father not knowing their father's alive. We'll certainly be looking forward to an update on that. Now, Talent, I am aware of specific laws in Zimbabwe. So I'm going to make some comments. Feel free to not endorse any, because the last thing we want is to break any laws with regards to how we talk about the government. But last week, Blessed Bombshell Geza had been speaking about alleged cronies who are stealing from Zimbabwe. Zim Live, one of the media publications in Zimbabwe yesterday, released what they allege to be a document of Constantino Chiwenga, the vice president, addressing President Emerson Mnangagwa about Tagwirei, about Wikno Chivayo, and alleging that these people have stolen billions from Zimbabwe, and that was not the reason that they took the country. In fact, in that document, he does admit that they took the country in a military coup in order to restore the nation, and they feel like they have regressed, and he wants something to be done about these criminals. Now, Blessed Bombshell Geza, as we know, is a former ZANU-PF Central Committee member, and he's plotting an October 17th street protest against Mnangagwa and his alleged cronies, and it seems these are the same reasons why.
Yes, as you know, this is the first time that former Central ZANU-PF Central Committee member has actually called for Zimbabweans to go into the streets and march against President Emerson Mnangagwa's administration. So right now, fugitive war veteran Blessed Geza, also known as Comrade Bombshell, has called on Zimbabweans to rise against alleged state capture and plunder of natural resources by the president and his henchmen. So Geza said citizens must come out in joins on the streets of Harare to express their anger against President Emerson Mnangagwa, who will be in Mutare attending the party's annual conference, where a resolution to extend his incumbency beyond his second term and final term in 2028 is expected to be tabled. In a video posted on YouTube this weekend, Geza, who is dressed in military fatigues at an undisclosed location, declares the time for silence is over. The former Senate legislator, who is wanted by authorities on sedition charges, claimed to speak for a faction of liberation war fighters frustrated by what he described as economic decay and political betrayal. So this is not the first time that Geza has called for Zimbabweans to march against the president for what he allegedly calls corruption by the president and his cronies. So the first time he called for a march, Zimbabweans stayed at their homes. There was a total shutdown in the streets of Harare. Shops were closed. There was no one. People did not go to work that day. So right now, as of yesterday, up until the 18th of October, the ZANU PF party will be in Mutare, where they'll be holding their annual ZANU PF conference. So Geza wants to take advantage of that because the president will be in Mutare. So right now he wants those who will be in Harare to march against the president whilst he's attending to something else. So we're not really sure as to how that is going to turn out. The last time, police were everywhere in the streets. People were not even allowed to go anywhere because the police were forcing everyone to return back to their homes. No one is allowed to be seen in the Harare CBD or else. So right now, we're not really sure as to how the citizens of Zimbabwe themselves are going to react to this protest, which has been called by, once again, Comrade Geza.
All right. Thank you very much, Talent, for delivering that very comprehensive report from Zimbabwe.
You're welcome, and thank you very much for having me.
It's always good when we can end the show with the wonderful Talent Gore. Catch Africa Good Morning on DSTV 285, GoTV 25, 1up2.com, spell it out, ONEUPTWO.com, where you can also click the echo icon where prime time is anytime, and you can watch our show and other NTV programs there. From me and the Africa Good Morning team, we return tomorrow, Wednesday, which means we get some chats from Botswana. Sadazwa Kanaka.